Do you
Yeah.
believe in, doing everything that you can, fighting for a relationship? To what extent?
People who spend so much time fighting for a relationship that they come out of it a skeleton. Be a strong, independent woman. Because listen, men come and go. Hi guys, welcome back to the Mod Afro Mamas. Yani tumehata tu sana. Okay. Today we're talking about breakups. All breakups. Zile za kabisa, those breakups to make up, just breakups. But Sarah, tell me, when is a breakup actually a good or positive thing?
Well, yeah, it can be, especially if somebody hasn't healed. You're jumping into another relationship and you're coming in your personal baggage. You haven't taken time to do some self-reflection, some healing, because you have to identify what it is that didn't work in the last relationship. Was it my fault? What can I do better? Is it communication? What is it that I can do better? And take care of myself so that when I go into the next relationship, I am whole. I'm ready to give it my all. Don't you think?
Yeah, no, that's true. I feel a lot of times we tend to be afraid to be alone, and whether or not we realize it, whether it's because, like for me, I say we're in diaspora, and sometimes it's just that loneliness is such a big gap. So you're always running on to have the next relationship and the next one, and then you carry all this hurt or whatever, all the quirks you have from the previous one into it. Another reason I think a breakup would be a blessing is if your current relationship is toxic. And guys, we have a video on toxic relationships. All right, check out the Mod Afro Mamas. And if you are in that kind of toxic relationship, whether it's physical, mental, psychological, whatever kind of situation you are in that is not healthy and wholesome for you, at that point, I do believe breaking up is the thing to do, no matter how much it hurts.
Right. And sometimes also, people grow. You can be in a relationship for such a long time, and then everyone is growing differently. And then you feel like, oh my gosh, we are growing apart. That, again, don't you think?
That's a big one, yeah. I got married early at 22. I mean, I've always considered myself pretty mature. But that being said, I do think at some mental age, and these people have gotten married at 19 and been married forever. So it's not really the age you are, it's the mental age you are, right?
Yeah.
And you reach a place with someone and you've been together that long that you start to maybe think different or have different plans for the future, disagree, and then you're maturing into this woman, he's maturing into that man, and you start to realize maybe we don't really have the same kind of thought process. Maybe we're not really going the same direction. So there also, I believe a breakup is a good thing. I mean, for me, it was.
That takes courage. That takes courage to realize, because sometimes we tend to hang into, this relationship. We gotta have to do everything we can to make it work. Do you believe in, doing everything that you can, fighting for a relationship? To what extent? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I believe fighting for relationships, so fighting for marriage. Okay, depending on the circumstances and what is causing the break and the rift, I do believe, just because I believe in God and I believe it's a covenant with you, and so I do believe in putting your best foot out. That being said, you have to reach a point where if things are not, if you're knocking on a mawe, it's not going anywhere. You're both not, none of you is willing to compromise. Then it's okay to walk away. I believe it's okay to walk away, because why waste? There's people who spend so much time fighting for a relationship that they come out of it a skeleton. You've given everything. Now you're no longer anything at all. You can't carry yourself anywhere. You can't conduct yourself. You have no love to give anybody, right? And that's horrible, especially if you have kids, because you have just tried so hard. So everybody has different limits. It's up to you to actually just sit and have an honest conversation with yourself. Yourself and whoever you worship, and just ask, is this viable anymore? Should I continue to fight? And another thing is, fighting has to be two ways. If I'm fighting for something and you're not fighting for it and we're in a relationship, we're not doing anything. We are just wasting time. It has to be both people putting in energy. At the point where one has checked out, I'm sorry, sis, bro. I mean, it's just time to walk away. It's time to walk away.
You know what you said about, you have given everything until you're left like with nothing. Don't you think that is like losing yourself? You lose yourself in that situation, that you don't know who you are anymore.
Yeah.
And it's important to take care of yourself first, because like I said, if you don't take care of yourself, especially in a marriage and where children are involved, you're left with.
And kids need a lot. Kids need a lot of love. They need a lot of energy from you. And kids are not stupid. I mean, you can't fake this. There's only so far that you can go around smiling and looking whatever you want to look. Right. If you're not feeling it and you're not in it, then that is the energy you're passing on to these beautiful babies who, I mean, they didn't choose to be here. So all you can do is choose to be the best parent you can be to them, whether you're a guy or a girl. And listen, my people, especially if you're a believer, God knows your name. So if that's not working, there's somebody for you. And if there isn't, I'm telling you, you can still be that somebody for yourself. See, lazima uko in a relationship. It's not a must. Life can go on, and you can still be happy, successful.
But you see, that's the problem we have. The girl hits 30. The next thing people are asking, when are you getting married? When are you getting married?
30?
When are you
26? Tulianza kuulizwa na aunties. And let me tell you something, aunties. We love you, but the problem with that also is sometimes up to 26, depending on where you're in life, either you're in Campo or just out of Campo or pursuing something. Mm-hmm. You should be at that stage where you're exploring.
Yes.
You're finally learning to have your own place, pay bills on time. So when people pick some guy you're dating and they make you feel like this has to be your husband, okay, and they don't know what your relationship is, because a lot of times, you don't tell everybody the bad stuff. We post on Instagram when dude is being cute and he's bought me this and that, right? But we don't post that, this guy's lazy, or I'm always paying the bills, or whatever. So you're sitting there saying, Velma no me koki date Tony. See, it's about time.
Yes.
You're putting it into my head that this has to end up being my husband, and he might not be husband material. And secondly, if I'm dating a guy my age, we all know men mature slower.
They come telling you, oh my gosh, you've been with this guy for such a long time. What's the next step? When are you guys doing something?
I think it is society's fault, and it also depends on how you raise your kids. Okay. I think a lot of times we say, a lot of us introduce a person when we're older. One thing my mom always said to me is, if your boyfriend doesn't want to come and meet us, then he doesn't have good intentions. So me from primary, my little primary boyfriend, we brought him home. So it wasn't right. You told my mom wanted to know that's your boyfriend. So you didn't it wasn't like, now I'm introducing you, so you have to be the ultimate guy. No, my mom, like if a guy was taking you on a date, he had to pick you up from home so she could see, she would meet him, meet the parents. She always did that. And I think it was actually really smart, because it took the big, oh my God, we met this guy, so he has to be the one. It took it out of that. It did.
Because the hypocrisy we have back home, you don't say anything. You don't talk about sex. You don't about anything. You act like, nothing is happening until you're ready to marry. That's when you're going to bring somebody for Rashi or anything. I applaud your mom. She did a good job. We don't have
those kind Mama Munai, go ahead.
Yes. We don't have those kind of parents back home. In fact, they're told, no, don't bring anybody here until you're sure is the person you want to marry. Don't you? Yes.
But that's not a good thing. Not a good thing at all. That's because when you think about it, sometimes you'd think, our moms, our aunts, they're just virgins until they all got married. No, but there's lessons we need to teach people. Teach us how to find a good man. Teach us how to see those qualities. Listen, a man between 25 and 30 doesn't have to show up a complete man, but you can tell a good guy. You can tell someone who's being molded into being a good man. And we should be able to learn those signs, learn red flags. This is not a partner. Don't make it a secret until the day I bring a guy. Then it's like, nani anakuanga tu mtu mzuri. How do you know?
The problem with that is because, and it really it's important because, as a girl, when you're in your 20s, you're going to college, you graduated, you continue with your life, and you bring boyfriend 1, doesn't work, you bring boyfriend 2, doesn't work, boyfriend 3. Now you're seen as like somebody
liar. That's exactly true, and it's wrong because your 20s. Listen, I love Judge Lynn Tola. She says your 20s is for exploring. You explore. It doesn't mean you sleep with everybody. But if you need to do this, just wrap it up. But I'm saying it's a time when you need to learn people, see people. Look at us, right? Yes. You go to boarding all through high school. When do you have time to learn what boys and girls are about? After high school. What are you hitting? 1920.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So you're going to have your wild streak of, oh my God, I'm free. I'm not in high school. Mm-hmm. Then you're going to have your balance where you kind of realize, okay, I have to somehow, whether you're doing your diploma, whatever you're doing. And then you start working. All that time, you should be open to exploring. And I still think, especially with even in Kenya, rising cases of people killing their lovers, introduce these boys to your parents. Introduce these girls to your parents. You never know.
Yes. Can we compare that to the Western world? Because here, kids, I'm not advocating for it, but my daughter is so-and-so's girlfriend.
Yeah.
My son has a girlfriend called so-and-so. I know the parent.
Yeah.
Do you know?
Yeah.
And it brings kind of, accountability,
Yes. Because my boyfriend is not hidden. We can't switch in corners and do things because my mom knows your mom. Hakuna siri ati nilikuwa nimeenda hapa na siku hapa. Like, I really think it brings a lot of accountability and it's a good
It does.
It's a good thing.
Yeah, there's respect.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
I
know
mean,
what
the
I
most
mean?
important tool for me would be, listen, sis, you don't have to be looking for a husband in your 20s. Okay.
No.
And this story of you can't have kids in your 30s and have healthy children naturally, it's a lie. Okay. Go ahead, set yourself up, set your career up, do what you need to do for you. Be a strong, independent woman. So you need to be able to be strong enough in your own foundation so that if a relationship reaches a place where unfortunately it's not working, bye, boy. It's all right. As women, you know what happens? We take a man's last name, right? You lose your own identity. Your children take on his last name. Wanasemanga mtoto wa nani. The mom is kind of like, you're there, it's a given, right? But people love to say mtoto. Like, they give the men so much glory. Sorry, guys, I'm not really picking on you, but I kind of am. So as women, we tend to, you let go. How are we taught? You leave your father's house, you go to your husband's house, right? You take your husband's name, okay? You lose your purpose. Find what still works for you. Be you. Be Velma. That's who he fell in love with. He didn't fall in love with Mrs. Smith. He fell in love with Velma. So continue to be Velma.
It is true, yeah. And also, that's how we grew up seeing our parents do. You know, we never saw like my dad's name and then hyphen my husband's last. You know, it was never like that. But now, that's what it is.
And
my
I would
daughter,
say as a hyphenated
I
woman.
don't want my daughter. Yeah, I don't. When my daughter get married, I don't want her to lose the masika. I want that. You know.
It's funny because my first marriage, I took on my husband's name, and it wasn't a big deal to me because, like you said, you combine a home. The Bible says you get your person, so it's not a big deal. I want my kids to we all have the same name. That's how I grew up. My mom was Mrs. You know, but especially after going through a divorce, I think one of the hardest things for me. I mean, maybe people at home don't have to go through this, but being in diaspora was having all my documents still have his name. Right? So that long after we were divorced, I was still Mrs. his name, you know, speaking to people, my documents, my IDs. And so when I went through the whole process of going back to my maiden name, I decided not to lose that much of me anymore. So I hyphenated. The one place I do like is that when I did get my degree, I made sure I had all my names. So I have his name at the end, but I still had my father's name. But that's one of the things that, ladies, I would say, you don't think about it when you're in a relationship because it's always perfect. But think about it, because if I had never put my name on it, I don't know how I'd feel about looking at a degree with just my husband's name. You know what I mean? When it's time, when you know it and you feel it and you have that gut instinct and it is time, have no shame in leaving. I'm not saying be shady. I'm not saying run away and pack up the house when your man is gone, blah, 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 blah. I mean, I'm just saying have an adult conversation with yourself, with your higher being, and then with your person. And if it is time to move on, no shame, sis. No shame, bro. Move on. Live your life because you get this one run around, right? Enjoy it. Anything else?
Yeah. All right. Thank you, guys. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.